Okay, welcome everybody. Welcome to this GetFiveStars customer webcast. Thanks for coming. I really appreciate you guys being here for this. So let's get things started. Uh, Today, so we've been having these webinars every month now, and the idea is just to keep you guys updated on what we're doing as a company and what kind of new product features we're rolling out, answer questions that we see come up a lot, and just hear your feedback too. So please don't hesitate to jump in the questions and answers for. I'd love to hear your questions along the way during the webinar, or any feedback that you guys have for us about the product. Anything's fair game here, so feel free to bring that up. I can even unmute you if you want to be able to talk. So just let me know in the questions pane, and we can do that. All right. So my name's Don Campbell. I'm the president of GetFiveStars. And for those of you who don't know me, I've been working on GetFiveStars with Mike Blumenthal and Thomas Hash for 2.5, almost 3 years now. Before that, I started a company called Expand to Web. And before that, I worked at Microsoft and also a Silicon Valley startup called Interwoven. And basically, I'm a product person. I love software. I love computer software, and I love local search and some of the challenges, helping to solve some of the problems that small business owners have. I live with my family in San Jose, and we love having, living in this area. We get to go to the beach quite a bit, and that's my two daughters and my wife there you see in the picture. And we've got a whole team here. If you were here last month, Aaron did the presentation. He's our chief marketing officer. Many of you know Mike Blumenthal and Thomas, who maybe you've interacted with him, and then Josh and Michael, who help us with all kinds of different things, including support. So anyway, just wanted to have you guys put some names with faces there in case you're new and haven't met a lot of us on the team, because we love helping you guys out in any way we can. Great. So in the last webinar, we covered a few things. We talked about adding customers and some of the new ways that we've enabled. I mean, one of our main product themes is to make it easy to have as many ways as possible to add customers. What I mean is your customers, your end customers as our customers. So the people that you want to ask feedback from, is making it easy to start that process off and get it rolling. And so we talked about that in many different ways, like the kiosk mode and the short URL landing page, and with email marketing and how we've done integrations with those. So we talked about that. We also talked about business level reporting and some of the ways that you can get your data back out at a business location level. So if you're managing lots of different locations, how can you get your data in reports and load that into Excel spreadsheets so that you can do charts and analyze the data. So we've done a lot of things to help with that. And then customer level reporting. So how can I get a list of my customers and who's left me feedback and what they've done, and all kinds of things. So we're just constantly adding more things like that based on your requests and things that we see is important. And so Lisa's saying that she missed the last webinar. And Lisa, yes, we do. We have recorded that. So what I can do is I'll ask Thomas to grab the recording. We have a webinar page on our website where we have all of the previous recordings. And if Thomas would be so kind as to grab that link and just paste it into the chat window, then you guys would all have it. So yeah, anytime you miss one, we do record them. I love it when you're here, so you can ask questions and stuff, but we definitely do our best. We had the one in November wasn't recorded. There was a glitch in GoToWebinar that that broke the recording, but other than that, we record them all. So yeah, okay. So the other thing we talked about last week was Google and how they changed the URL. Basically, the feedback, the Google My Business URL that people can use to leave feedback. They shook some things out and changed them, I think, around November, December timeframe. So Aaron covered that whole situation and how to deal with it. And Thomas, thanks for pasting that link. Appreciate it. He already did it. So for this week, what I want to do is just do a quick update on the company, how we're doing. And then I want to talk about customer generated content. So this is one of the key advantages in GetFiveStars, one of the capabilities we have. But more importantly, it's just an important thing for our website. I mean, one of the main problems that small business websites have is keeping their website up to date with original unique content, right? And it's important, as we know, for Google to know that that website is dynamic and things are changing and the business is updating it. And so it's important. So I want to talk about that and talk about our testimonials widget. We've got some new features in there I wanted to cover. Aaron hinted at those last time that they were coming, and now they're here. So I wanted to show you what those are. And then talk about some of the integrations we've done. We've made a lot of progress on the integrations front, where we can integrate with over 500 different apps now. And then obviously, like always, just take your questions and your tips and your thoughts and ideas. So that's what I want to cover today. As I mentioned before, if you're new to our webinars, we like to keep them really interactive. So don't hesitate to drop a question in the questions panel, and Thomas or Mike or I will try to answer that, and right away. And if not, then hopefully I can even cover it here. So quick then Mike has to ask, what's the meaning? Thanks, Mike. So really quick review, GetFiveStars, what does it do, right? It helps you basically ask for feedback. We help to make that process as proactive as possible for your businesses to ask for feedback after the sale so that you can understand if someone's not happy and save that customer and avoid any potential negative reviews. And if they are happy, capture the testimonial and make it easy for them to leave you an online review. We have a bunch of points along the way that you can customize to really brand the communications with your customer so that it reflects your company branding. We have a lot of different ways where you can integrate with different systems to automate, the process. I mean, the most successful companies we see, they integrated in with their workflow. Maybe they're already reaching out to their customers somehow, or they've got a CRM system or something like that. And then it's just automatic. And these feedback requests go out when your customers come through. And then that's how you get nice volumes of testimonials and reviews. And that's how you understand what your customers are feeling, and you can tweak things in your business to make things better. So anyway, that flowchart just kind of shows some of the things that you can do. So GetFiveStars update. So as a company, we are doing really well. We have over 15,000 locations managed now. We've been doing lots of work on the product, a lot of updates based on feedback from you guys and things that we see happening in the industry, and just experience as we go through this, right? I mean, one of the things that we like to think is we're that small, scrappy startup, a small team that's just really going after. We're keeping our pulse on what's happening in the industry. And we're making sure that that stuff gets into our product. We can make the product as intelligent as possible. So we've got pretty exciting product roadmap as well, with lots of new features planned for this year. We're constantly adding things and trying to, I mean, our goal is honestly to continually add more value to the product so that it's just such a no-brainer for you guys to say, wow, this is great. I'm getting good value out of this, and they're always adding more stuff. We've also done integrations, which I'll talk about in a little bit, where we can now integrate with over 500 different apps. This is something that we've been working on for a while, on many point integrations with some of our larger customers. And now we've figured out a way to open it up to lots and lots of different apps. So we're super excited about that. And we're growing and we're hiring because things are going well. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that quick update because we're pretty excited about the progress we're making. And so let's talk about now customer generated content. So one of the things that we've, many of you have some background in search engine optimization. I know many of you are agencies, many of you are small business owners, and you're trying to figure these things out too. But the reality is having good content on your website that's updated regularly is super powerful, right, for your website in the search engine rankings, and it's just important for your customers as well. And that's typically one of the hardest problems that a small business owner faces is updating their website because of many reasons, right? First of all, it's hard to come up with content. What am I going to say? Second of all, small business owners are typically very, very busy. They're wearing many hats, and unless they really love to write and they have some sort of a habit already, then it's difficult to just sit down and write a blog post or to update your product page. And so what happens is these small business websites, they kind of stagnate over time. They haven't been updated for, in some cases, over a year or more. And what happens when Google is, the crawler is looking at your website, is your website sort of trains Google to know, well, how often should I come back and check this website? And once Google sees it's not being updated very frequently, it stops coming, or it only comes occasionally. And so it's super important to do this, to keep your website updated. And one of the ways that we help with that is with the testimonials. So, we talked about that process earlier where we're capturing testimonials from your customers, and we're helping to automate that. And what's great is, with our testimonials widget, you put that on your website, and then your customers, the content that they generate when you get the feedback, and remember, you've got this sort of private review feedback process that you can go through first, where you can make sure to, if somebody's not happy, you hear about it, right? If you've got a customer that's upset, you have a chance to take care of that first before the review um, ends up on your website. And so this is a great way to have this feedback, just original content created by your customers, show up on your website. And you can even respond to it too. So you can go in and respond and add flavor to what they're saying. And in this way, you can quickly get, if you're asking for feedback regularly from your customers, this is going to be updated constantly. And we mark up this feedback in our widget so that when it's on your website, it respects the reviews, the schema.org reviews formats. And so this is a format that Google crawls and understands. And this is a good way to get original content on your website. And what's nice about it is, this is rich, many times just naturally rich with keyword content. So here you see on a website of one of our customers who, they've got customers writing nice things about, them and about the visit. And then Lindsay is responding and saying, hey, thank you. And so you can kind of get a little bit of a conversation going, and that content is all indexed by Google, right? And many times this content can lead to search results with rich snippets in the results too, which we'll talk about in a minute. So it's super important to have this. And in fact, kind of along that lines of conversation is when people do leave you feedback or they leave a review on Google or Yelp or Facebook. And I'm making a distinction here, by the way. In our system, the initial interaction with the customer is to get feedback from them, which is private, and can be captured as a testimonial, which is then published on your website. We also encourage online reviews. Once we know customers are happy, we ask them to leave an online review, make it really easy for them to do that on Google or Yelp or Facebook or whatever the industry site is that works best for your industry. Now this survey here is about, this is from the local U blog, so localu.org. They did a survey of customers to say, for an online review, should the business owner respond? And I'm not going to go into all the details here, but the point, I've got a link to the blog post if you want to read it, kind of like when what are the conditions people think that you should, but overall, people think, yeah, they should respond. The business owner should. And one of the things that about responding to reviews is, even if they're not positive, this is just a great opportunity to show other customers that you're listening, right? That you're listening to your customers, and you need to make sure that you respond constructively. But it's a really, really good opportunity for you to show as a business that you're out there. And so my point about bringing this up is that customers do expect a response in many cases. And like we just looked at, it just feels good when you see, you took the time to leave some feedback or a testimonial, and then they come back and thank you for it, and they're interactive, they're engaged with their customers. And anyone who's watching this and who's looking at the website at these testimonials, or maybe they're looking at reviews on Google, and they see this kind of a conversation happening, that makes me feel like, well, this is a business that I'd like to interact with because they're engaged with their customers, right? So in our system, we have the ability to do that. Um, to use it using the business response. So right in the customer record when you go into, and I can show you this in a minute, I'll do a demo and show you where you go to do this. But basically when you pull up a customer, any of your customers, you see what feedback they left you, you can reply right here and send the message and it will show up on your site. So that allows you to reply. It's super easy to do. Lisa was asking a question though that I missed. Kind of I kept rolling past the previous topic, and she said, if you start adding content more frequently, will that bring Google back more often again? Yeah, it will. I mean, basically, the crawler sort of trains itself based on how often you're updating the website. And if you start updating it more frequently again, Google will eventually find the new content and it'll start checking, and the idea is to kind of get into a rhythm where you're updating content regularly. Google knows, hey, I better keep going back there because they tend to have more content. And, and that's kind of a whole nother discussion, but having just and the whole meta point here that I'm trying to make is that it's better to update your site regularly with unique content, right? And so don't worry, Lisa. It's not like Google will leave you and never come back. It's more of the crawler just once it just kind of learns how often you're updating the site and it starts building a schedule based on that. Thad is asking, is there a way to have feedback go to different pages? For example, a doctor has 3 offices but 1 website. Can reviews go to the Marion, Ohio page for the doctors there, the Bucyrus page for doctors there, versus all the reviews on 1 page? I'm thinking for SEO. Yes, so this is an excellent question. There is a way to do that now, which I'll talk about. I'll show you an example. And then there are some features we're going to be adding that are going to make that even easier in terms of tagging your feedback and reviews. So thanks for asking that. I'm gonna show you that in just a little bit, kind of like how you can manage that currently. So all right. So that's the business response. Let me just go in. So let me just go show you a quick demo of where that is. Let me jump over to my screen here. And if I go to just logged into GetFiveStars here, and I'm going to go into a particular business location. And if I go to one of these feedbacks, so let me go down and scroll and grab one of these. Here's some feedback from somebody that's published live on my website. I can see that. I'm going to click into it. And if I go into this customer record for Harry Potter and scroll down a little bit, you can see this section now, which this was added a few months ago. So if you've been using the system for a while, you may not have noticed this. But this is where you can basically set it up and say, hey, I want to write a public comment to this, and it will show up. So I'll just show you. I'll show you how it works. I'm just going to say send it, and then it'll show up on the page. So wherever the Harry Potter review is, let me just pop over here and see if I can find it here. I'm going to refresh and show you where that yeah. So here you can see where I'm responding to feedback, and this was one buried a little bit deeper in the feedback from earlier, so that's why it's not showing up directly right away for me. But if I can find Harry Potter, you'll see where my response showed up. Well, I'm having trouble finding it because I think I left that one a long time ago. But anyway, it's got to be like right here. Yeah, here. So here's the response from the one I just left. Our pleasure. Thanks for taking the time to leave us feedback. I guess it was right at the top. I should have seen that in the first place. Yeah, so that's how easy it is. I guess that was my point. If you don't get lost like I did, then it's very straightforward, and you can keep a nice running, list of your feedback. So we track that in our system. And what's cool too is after you comment, like let's say somebody did give you feedback that wasn't totally positive. What you can do then is ask the customer for an updated review, and so we have a button for that too. So let's say they left 3 stars and said, well, it was okay, but the Reuben sandwich wasn't as good as it usually is, or whatever, you can respond to their comment, and then you can ask them to update the review from here as well. So, all right. So that's what I was trying to show you. Let me pop back over to the presentation here about the business response. So again, just a great way to start interacting with your customers. Customers expect it. It helps you by putting unique content updates on your website, right? So let's talk a little bit about the testimonials widget. This is what enables you to add this content to your website. We noticed that, here's the challenge with the widget. It's very powerful because it allows you to automatically update your website with this content. However, for some people, it's a little tricky to install. Back to the problem where a lot of times business owners don't know how to update their website. And in this case, you've got to put some sort of a widget or some code on your website so that we can help you with the updates. So ideally, if you have a webmaster or someone who helps you build your website, they will know. It's very easy for them to do this. If you don't, let us know and we can help you. So let me just show you what's going on, and then I'll show you how you can get some help. So first of all, we added a new testimonials badge. This is a new feature that was just, I'm trying to remember exactly when this shipped. It was just a few weeks ago, and maybe a month ago, where now instead of like the whole list of testimonials, you can put what people were asking us for is, can we put just a badge, like a summary of the reviews somewhere on the website? Maybe I want that in my sidebar on all the pages, or maybe I want it in a special place on the website. So we added the ability to add a testimonials badge. And if you click, so you see the badge, and then you can see this says view testimonials. And if you click that, then it actually will link to your testimonials page. So the best practice that we've been talking about is you should have a page on your website that has unique content on it and that is focused on your reviews and testimonials, right? And what this badge allows you to do is to kind of highlight that page in other areas of your website so that you can show people, hey, we've got all this great feedback, go take a look. And they click through, and then it takes them to that testimonials page on your website. And then they can drill down and see the individual feedback people has left and your comments back and things like that. So that's the idea. The other thing that we added to this is, in the past, we would only show 5 testimonials in the widget. And now we've added the ability for you to choose how many you want to show, up to, I think, 15. And so now you can just go into the testimonials widget settings, and you can set that up to say, hey, I want to show more content on the website. Instead of just those 5, I want to show more. And then that just gives you more content to be putting out there, which is good. And then, this is just, these changes are just part of a whole bunch of changes that we're planning to add, over time. They give you more and more control. So one of our key goals, one of our product themes, is to give you more and more ways to use this content on your website effectively, like making it more and more valuable for you. Like, for example, we're going to have special widgets that will show you, you can feature reviews, or it can do rotate through different feedback that people have left you in testimonials, and then all kinds of different ways we're planning to use it. One thing I forgot to mention is the badge that I was pointing out here. It uses, so I had mentioned that the testimonials widget, which you see on the right-hand side here, which is all the content, we mark that up properly in the schema.org review format so that Google can crawl that and understand what these are. And this is what leads to the possibility of you getting rich snippets in some of your search results. For the badge, we're also marking that up, and we're marking that up with the rich snippet summary code. And what that means is, obviously, we're not showing all the testimonials and reviews here, but we're just showing a summary of those. And so we're marking that up properly as well. So just so you know that we're handling all the structured markup behind the scenes in these widgets for you. So thanks for reminding me about that, Mike. Mark is asking, we've been using Wix for our site. One of the downsides is schema.org is not enabled on Wix. Is there any inside info on this? Well, Mark, I would like to follow up with you separately, because one of the things we're looking at is looking at, obviously we have not obviously, I haven't talked about it yet, but we have a plugin for WordPress websites that makes it easier to install the widget. We would like to do that on the major website providers as well. So like Wix, Weebly, Squarespace, we'd like to get a plugin developed that will make it super easy for you to drop these in. And honestly, I don't think that Wix would be preventing the use of schema.org. Maybe they are not adding it, but we would be able to with our widget. You could still, I need to know a little more about Wix, but it shouldn't prevent us from including schema markup on the site. So it may require an integration, but that's something we're looking at already. So, let's follow up. I mean, if you're some way you could send an email or something so that we can connect, I'd like to explore that with you. And then Lisa is asking a question. When I said that you can do the 5 or 10 reviews, is that the 5 or 10 most recent? Yeah, it's ordered by recency, but when you look at it, you can sort it in different ways. So let me pop back over to here again and show you. So I can sort it by date or by rating. Okay, but it is by recency by default. And these are some of the other options that we're going to be adding to the widget going forward, is for you to be able to specify that in the settings. So good question, Lisa. Thanks. Will the star ratings show up? Hold on one second. I should have turned on my do not disturb so my messages don't come up. Will the star ratings show up on SERPs as they do with listing on sites with Yelp and Facebook? Ryan, yes. So here's the deal. They may, and I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. So we have lots of customers who the rich snippets are showing up in the results. It depends on some factors. It depends on how much authority your website and specifically that page has with Google. But it is definitely possible. That's one of the main reasons we're doing it, is to give you, obviously the content, the ability to put those testimonials on your website, but we want to mark it up so that Google understands it as well. So I'll show you some examples of that in a minute. Paul is saying, Thomas was helping me out, but the view testimonials link doesn't appear to work with my white label account. I sent a screenshot last night. Is he still working on this? Yes. Yeah, Paul, I know you had some situation where the view link, and I think what you're referring to, if I switch back to the presentation, you were saying that this link here that said view testimonials wasn't working for you for some reason. So yeah, we'll figure that out. I know it's been working in my tests, but we're looking at that in your situation. I'm not sure. Yeah, they're working on it. I promise. So we'll determine what was going on there for you. And then Paul also gave me some feedback yesterday on the configuration of the review of the testimony, the feedback page, which thank you, Paul, for that. You caught some, Thomas and I are going to go over that later this afternoon, but you had pointed out there was a little confusing in terms of how I set up my feedback page and some of the settings we have in there. So you're right. There's an area we need to improve, just kind of how we describe it in the back end. So that stuff's so good. I mean, I really appreciate when you guys come to us with that kind of feedback, because I don't know if you've ever heard of the curse of knowledge, but I mean, when you know what I'm talking about, when you're working so closely with something, sometimes you need an outside perspective to have someone say, oh, this doesn't make sense because, you're looking at it from a different perspective. So anyway, that's really helpful to us. Thanks for bringing that. So I wanted to show a couple of examples of sites that are using the testimonials widget, just so you can see kind of how it's laid out in a few of these. Let me just jump over to a couple. And what I wanted to point out here was how, so here's one I kind of minimized. Let me get the view back to the regular actual size. Yeah, so this is a really cool Kaikanani. They do snorkeling tours and all kinds of cruises and whale watching tours and stuff in Maui, and they're using it. And I just love how they have it integrated into their website with again, a testimonials page. Look at the URL, testimonials. They've got a specific page for it on their site. They have some unique content on here. They've got a picture, and here they have their testimonials widget with lots of different. They have 267 testimonials now because they're consistently asking people for feedback. You can see tons of great feedback on here, along with additional content that they're adding. So this is a perfect example of how to use it, because it does two things, right? It helps you with your search rankings to have this specific testimonials page. It also helps customers who are coming here and seeing, what are other people saying about this? And you can tell that, these are all good, legit reviews because people are just saying, they're naturally adding in keywords, captain and crew and all these different things, that they got to sit in the captain's chair. And I mean, it's like telling little stories about their experiences with you. And this is exactly what other customers are going to want to see before they sign up. Here's for a Mazda dealer where they've got I like this touch now where they have like this online chat capability right here with the next to the testimonials widget. This shows me that they care about their customers, right? That's how I feel when I see something like this. This is another Hawaii vacations. Boy, we're doing well with the Hawaii vacation sites. We're going to need to work out some kind of trades with these people. I would love to go take another trip there. Yeah, so they've got a nice this widget integrated with their website. Here's another one, Good Citizen. Here again, I zoomed out so I could take a screenshot. Let me just go to actual size. Good Citizen dog. So this is like dog training. And here they've integrated in, and I like how they do such a good job of responding to this feedback. So you can see when somebody leaves them feedback, they're right on it. We're responding to almost everyone. And I think that just shows, like we talked about earlier, that customer interaction. So lots of good examples here. Another feature that we I just wanted to point out is we've gotten more granular with these ratings. Before, like we didn't have it would just say either 4.5 or 5, and now it's like 4.8. And part of the driver behind this is we wanted it to be more accurate, of course, but also we found in a survey that people don't tend, they trust ratings that aren't always all 5 stars. They trust it more if it's like 4.8 or a 4.3. It's sort of like it makes it more credible. The fact that it's not like everybody happens to leave you. No, they know that doesn't happen. A lot of times people are still happy, but they leave you a 4-star rating or 4.5 or something because maybe they had a suggestion for something that could have been done better, but they were still happy. And so that was another thing you're going to notice, is just more granular results in there. So Lisa is saying, I would entertain a trade for an awesome bed and breakfast along Lake Michigan. All right, Lisa, I appreciate that. I'm from Michigan and I know how beautiful Lake Michigan is. So that's funny. I like it. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you just a flavoring of some of the sites that are using the testimonials widget. That's all. Do you guys have any questions about implementing? How many of you, is there anyone who is not using the testimonials widget? I would love to hear why. Maybe it's just not important to you. That's okay. But if you had any questions or problems about implementing it, then please let me know, because I wanted to fix it. So let me just show real quickly, how do you set this testimonials widget up. So really 3 steps. Step number 1 is to configure the testimonials settings, okay, which I'll show you in a minute. Step number 2 is to get the widget code. And then step number 3 is to paste it onto your testimonials page. Now, what this can look like, depending on your setup, depends on your website. Our code is designed to work with pretty much any website. However, we've done some things, there are some websites where it will only display and you won't get the rich snippets markup depending on how that website operates. And also, if you have WordPress, we've developed a WordPress widget that makes it a little easier. So let me show you how that works. If you have any problems at all, just email us at support@GetFiveStars.com and we'll be glad to help you get the widget set up, because we want you guys using this. I think the value is huge, and I want to make sure that you can. So Fred's asking, is it easy to install? I have to go through a third-party website template developer. Well, Fred, I'm going to show you right now a little bit how it works, and then just let us know. We can help you through support if you're struggling with this, because this is a good example of there are so many different website providers out there that we work with you and we find out, oh, okay, well, if it's Wix, they need it in this format, or if WordPress, but we already got that solved, or if it's just a regular PHP or HTML website, we got that solved. But it's just like, it depends. There's so many different ones out there. We need to hear from you guys what you need. So yeah, Fred, just when you're ready to do that, just support at GetFiveStars.com, and we'll help you sort that out on how to do it. And then I'll show you right now in a minute just some of the basics on how to set it up. Lisa's saying she could use some help implementing it, definitely. Ed is saying the widget works great for our clients. Awesome. Steve says it'd be great to see an integration with Google AdWords campaigns. Any chance of this in the future? We've talked about this, Steve. I would have to talk to Mike. I'm trying to remember where we left off with this. I mean, yeah, that's something I can follow up with you on. I like the idea. But what I want to do now is just kind of show you how to set this up. So what I'm yeah, so really the 3 steps: configure it in the testimonials setting, copy the widget code, paste it onto the testimonials page. Let's go into GetFiveStars so I can show you this. So, bear with me if you've already done this, but I know a lot of people had questions about it, so I just want to show just briefly how it works. So I'm in my customer dashboard, and this is important. I don't want to be doing this from my business dashboard. You're not going to see that setting available. The business dashboard is where I see multiple locations if I'm managing multiple locations. If you only have one location, you're not going to see this. But I'm going to drill into the location that I care about the testimonials for, right? So I'm in that location. Here's my customer dashboard, and I go to settings. And if I go to the testimonials widget from here, step number 1 is just to configure it, right? And we have some defaults in here. So for example, one of the defaults is to include the feedback form in the testimonials widget. So if I look at the testimonials widget and I scroll down, this is actually the one so this is for the widget for the account that I'm in GetFiveStars now. So this is the exact one that I'm showing you that is in the back end here. Wow, that was really confusing the way I said it. This widget code that I'm going to show you from this setting is the one that's published on this website. So if I scroll down, you can see that I have the option on to leave feedback. So if I were to click leave us feedback here, then it would take me to the feedback page for this company, right? And so that's what this option is for right here. Include feedback form link in the testimonials widget. This one is included links to review sites in the bottom half, the testimonials widget. That just says, do I want to include these at the bottom, which are basically the review sites I care about? Do I want to include those? Then I would leave that checked yes. If I wanted to turn those off, I'd uncheck it. I can include a Facebook like and a Google Plus button at the bottom. I can choose there are a few different color schemes I can choose from. And then here is one of the new features where I can choose how many testimonials I want to show on a page, right? So I can set that here. One thing Mike just reminded me of, I wanted to show you guys, is if you look here, leave us a review on on this page, we're not showing Yelp, even though if I go into my settings for this online review link settings for this customer, you'll see that I have Yelp here and it shows up in my feedback page, right? So it shows up when I ask for feedback. And I know this because watch what I do. When I say leave us feedback, if I were to leave feedback here, actually I'll have to go through it just for now. So let me put in okay, I'm just going to do one really quick so I can show you. When I say submit feedback and it's positive, then it's asking me, and you see Yelp is on this page, right? It's asking me, hey, it's giving me the option to leave a review on Yelp, but it's not showing up here. The reason for that is that Yelp has some rules about asking for feedback. They don't even want you to ask. They want it just to happen naturally. So we're not showing it on the public page on your website, but only as part of the review asking flow if someone clicks on the leave us feedback here. So that's why. That's why it's not showing up. So thanks for reminding me of that, Mike. So back to the testimonials widget settings. Now, this is where I get the embed code now for the testimonials widget. So there's a couple of things going on here I wanted to show you just because this is new, and even if you've done this before, you may not know this because of the new features. So this is the code for the testimonials widget, which always was there for a long time. And you copy this code and you paste it into your website, and that's how you get this widget right here. Now, I'm going to go into more details in that for a second, but before I do that, I want to show you about the badge and what the difference is. So now this is the code for the badge, and when I configure my badge, I can give it a link, and this is the link that you're going to see in the badge that allows me to click through to the testimonials page. So what I've done is I've captured the URL of my testimonials page, which is just right up here. This is the URL of the page on my website that is for testimonials, right? So I just need to capture that URL and put it in here. And then my badge will link to that page. So let me show you. So I've copied the badge code, which is right here. And let me just show you what I did. This is a WordPress website. So I went into my sidebar. I'm just going to show you where I did that. I went to widgets. And for this particular theme, on the contact page, there's a sidebar, and I put a text widget in there, and I just pasted this code in, the code that I grabbed off of this page, right? I said, give me the badge code. I copied it, and I went into the widget, created a text widget in WordPress and pasted it in. And now if I go to the contact page on this website, there's my badge, right? And so this badge is just showing up. It can show up on any page I want on my website now. And because I put this URL of my testimonials page in right here, then when I click on the badge, it takes me to the testimonials page. So this is what I was talking about earlier. It's the new feature where I can put this badge anywhere I want, and when somebody clicks on it, so I'm kind of advertising my reviews page, right? So that people can take a look at those, and obviously you want people to see potential customers to see the great experiences they're having with your business. So that's how it works. Same thing now for the testimonials widget, right? If I want to embed that on my site, there's a couple of ways I can do it. If I just have a regular old website, then I'm just going to paste it into the web page just like this, right? And I've got a little page here where I've got the badge code and the widget code, where I just literally took them out of here and popped them into my source code for my website. And then if I go there, boom, we do all the rendering, we do the markup, we make it all happen. That's because this is a PHP based website. Now, if you have WordPress, then we have a plugin that makes it easier. And I'll just show you, I'm not going to go fully into the details, but if I go under settings, you can see we've got the GetFiveStars widget where we just say, give me the short code for that. And if I go into the testimonials page for it, I'm just going to show you all we had to do is add that short code, and boom, that's how I've got this page right here. So essentially what we're trying to do is make it easier for different platforms, for you to do that on. Lisa's asking, we literally have hundreds of beautiful testimonials that guests leave in our guest books in each room. Is it possible to legally add those handwritten reviews to our account? Lisa, yes, you have to go through us to do that, though. We don't allow people to upload testimonials that were captured outside of the system, only because we just wanted to have some oversight onto that. We want to make sure that all these reviews are legit reviews from actual customers. In your case, just let us know, contact us with support, and we can help you with that. Because I know you've probably worked really hard for those testimonials, and it would be great to be able to use those as well. So that's no problem. Just let us know. Okay, so one thing I wanted to mention, and this got back to a question earlier, I think Dad asked it about different locations. So let me show you well, let me back up to the business dashboard. So right now, we have two different locations managed, right? And I've got testimonials widget code for both of those locations. One is the Menlo Park location and one is the San Jose location. So I have two different ones. Now what I've been able to do is I've gone into my blog, and if I show you all the pages here onto my website, I have two of them. I have the Menlo Park location testimonials and then the regular testimonials page. And so we've been looking at the regular testimonials page here, but I could create a new page for a new location, which I'm going to look at here for Menlo Park. And, normally I would have some text here. I didn't have enough time right before the demo, but I should have set up, hey, our Menlo Park location is located, near the shopping mall off of by the train tracks. And, you should have like lots of local content for each of these pages. But you can see this is a different set of testimonials on the same website. So right now, the way it works is for each location that you have, you can create a separate testimonials page for that. So yes, you can do what you were after, what you're asking, where you had multiple doctors. So you would need to have a different doctor at each location. What we're doing in the future is we have on our roadmap for, I think it's July, where you're going to be able to go into even for one location, and when you send the feedback request out, you'll say, this feedback request is for Dr. So-and-so, right? And then you'll be able to tag those, like we'll tag the feedback that comes back, and then you can sort it out based on doctor, just even for one location. But until then, we have this workaround where you can have different locations to keep them separate. So hopefully that answered your question. If not, let me know. Steve is asking, I have store locations that appear on both their own domain and a listings domain with all locations. Do you think having the reviews show in both domains is bad for SEO? Not sure. Let me make sure I understand the question. So I have store locations that appear on both their own domain and a listings domain. I personally, I would only show them on my own domain, honestly, because that would be. I'd like to hear what Mike thinks about that. I know he's listening and he might be able to chime in, but I personally would keep them on my own domain and probably not show them on the other the other domain. It's I don't think there's necessarily a penalty for that, but I kind of would like to make sure Google knows this is my content. It's unique content for my website. The danger there would be if they showed up on this other listing domain that someone else owned and it had more domain authority than your domain, and Google perceived it to be original content there, then your website probably wouldn't get much credit for your own testimonials content. And I'd rather see you get it on your website. So that would be how I would answer it. Yeah, so that's it. With the testimonials widget, I understand that if you don't do coding, some of this stuff, we're trying to get it so you don't need to mess with code at all, right? And we're doing, like, the WordPress plugin makes it pretty easy, but we'll help you. If you're having trouble with another provider, let us know and we'll help you sort that out. Because I think it's really important to have this widget, and you're really missing out on some of the advantages if you don't have it installed. All right, so the other thing I just want to wrap that section with some best practices, and this is from a blog post on Mike Blumenthal's website, which I have a link for right here, a bit.ly link. In fact, darn it, let me just see if I can copy that link for you. I want you to have that link. I'll put it in. All right, here it is. Yeah. So this is a really good article. Basically, it's some best practices about how to handle how to get this rich snippets to show up. So before I go there, let me just show you an example of the rich snippets showing up in the search results. So here's a website that you do a search on, and boom, these are the rich snippets showing up as a result of the testimonials widget being on that page. So this is not the Google reviews. These are the testimonials that are showing up on this web page, which is using our widget. And so this is really nice to have those show up in the search results, right? Now, how do you get them there? That's the question a lot of people are asking about, because it's not like a guaranteed thing as soon as you drop the widget on the website that you're going to start getting rich snippets to show up. So Mike had some best practices in general about this stuff, about it, how to get the review stars. And first of all, the really kind of a five little pieces to this. One is, use it with original content. You saw some of the examples where they had original content around. Also, the widget itself provides original content. So that's part of the purpose of, taking your customer testimonials and putting them there. Um, Use the aggregate version only to inform, not to game the system. So don't try to, like with our badge, right? Don't try to make um, that's why our badge only posts the aggregate information. It's not like we're posting all the review content behind the scenes and trying to trick Google. You should definitely have a testimonials page on your website that is used for displaying all those testimonials. Follow Google's rich snippets guidelines, which there's a link to in that blog post. Keep an eye on that as Google revises it, and make sure you're playing by their rules if you want them to respect your page and show the snippets. Um, Put reviews and testimonials on a page that is of value to your readers. So don't just make it some background page that's not linked to from anywhere. I mean, like the examples we showed earlier today, imagine that you're thinking about using that dog sitting service, or and you want to see, like, what are other people experiencing, and what have they gotten from this. And so it's not just a Google trying to game Google thing. It's also helpful to your customers, which is the whole point, right? And then for multi-location businesses, put them on a local landing page. For your own website, if it's just a single location, you could even put it on the home page if you want. But make sure there's a page for the testimonials out there. So let me just show you the URL for that website real quick. I have it up here, I think, the post. So it's the title is Review Stars in the Zen of Local Search. It's on Mike's blog. He gives a little history here of something that happened recently where some of those rich snippets, they disappeared, and everyone was all up in arms, like, what happened? Did Google just pull them down? Well, there was some bug that they introduced, and now and then they eventually came back within a couple of days. So he's kind of going through that situation here and explaining that, hey, we have to be careful not to depend on Google too much for this stuff, because they're always changing things around, right? But he gives at the bottom of this blog post some best practices, which I just kind of summarized for you. But if you want to go into them in a little more detail, he's got links to the Google's rich snippet guidelines here and everything. So, so it's a really good article. I would suggest that you grab that if you're interested in this. Now, Jim is asking, does the phrase powered by GetFiveStars always have to show on the badge? We're doing white label. Jim, it should not show if you're doing white label. That shouldn't show up. We'll go check that. I'm 99% sure that doesn't show up. Unless there was some bug that I didn't know about, then let us know if you're seeing it, but it should not. Yev is saying, in the case clients stop using GetFiveStar services, will they automatically lose their testimonials in the widget? This is a great question, Yev. So here's the deal with that. Yev's question is, okay, let's say I'm happily using GetFiveStars here, and then I decide to stop using the service, right? What happens to my testimonials? Well, first of all, we consider these testimonials your content. So if you go into GetFiveStars and you go into your customer dashboard and you look at your list of all your customers and all the feedback and reviews that are there, and you go to the bottom, we have a button here called Export Customer Data. And all you need to do is click on that, and you say, do I want everything, or just the good reviews, or the bad ones, or the ones with no reviews? However you want it. You can say everything for the lifetime date range and download that as a CSV file at any time. So that is content that you own. We're not going to try to keep that from you. The caveat is that, if you stop using our service, every time this testimonials widget is displayed, it generates a lot of calls to our server and for resources that we host. So basically, the widget isn't going to work anymore, but you have access to all the content. So it's just a matter of, you get all the feedback that your customers had. Someone might have to work on how they want to display it, because realistically for us, we can't keep paying for the server calls to be displaying every time this page is loaded. So, we'll work with you if you need some time to roll off of it and everything, but the answer is you own the content. It's just a matter of how it's displayed. Paul is saying, is it possible to transfer my client's testimonials to a new client-owned account or to another agency? I can transfer the site. It'd be nice to be able to transfer the testimonials over. Yeah, I mean, we can work, Paul, if you're, as long as they're owned by I think you're saying if you change to a different company or something as a doctor. Imagine your doctor works at one office, right? And they're getting testimonials there, and they decide to move to another office. Could we move those reviews over with them? Well, yes. The trick is, though, it depends on some factors about the local address and things like that for the business. But we can work with you on it if they're your content. We don't want to hold that back from you. That's basically our philosophy. Mark is asking, any way to put up a smaller widget, say 2 by 2 inches size widget. So Mark, I think I imagine you are referring to this one. One thing I was going to mention is that this is a responsive widget, so we try the best we can to form that to the size of the container that it's in. So if you look at it on a mobile phone, then you'll see that it actually looks pretty good in there. The thing is, I'm going to actually pull it up on a mobile phone and just show you that real quick. Give me 1 second to load that up, and I will show you what it looks like. Just because I wanted to show you that it how it conforms to the space. I meant to have my mobile ready to go for you guys, but I need to start this little app first to be able to show it to you. All right, so you should be able to see my phone now. And on this screen, actually, here, let me go to the contact page because that was better. That's what we were looking for, is the sidebar is a little narrower. So you can see what happens here is it gets shrunk down to the size. Well, darn it. I saw it on a smaller phone where it actually shrunk down even smaller and the stars had to be on 2 lines. We try to do our best to shrink it down. What we're going to work on in future versions is actually have you specify exact sizes for this too. So right now it should be responsive to the space you put it in, but it also, we're going to be giving you more options for sizing it too. Have you guys had more success with naming page testimonials versus reviews? You know what? I call the page testimonials and reviews. And the reason I do that, let me see what Mike's got here. I think, yeah, see Mike's page, I'm sorry, this page for Barbara Oliver says reviews and testimonials is actually the title. And the reason is because what if somebody types in your company name and reviews, or your company name and testimonials? I like to have both in the title or the name of the page. Yeah. Paul says, thank you, Mark. I dropped the widget code into our Wix site and it required more space than I'd like to give it on our home page. Why don't you send us an example, Mark, and see if we can help you with that. Can you have a main testimonials page on your website but direct specific review to other pages? For example, someone leaves a review about the great cuisine showing on the cuisine page, etc. Lisa, that's a great question. That is one of the features we have coming where you can actually tag the testimonials in the future for different topics. And then you could have a page just about that topic. Only the testimonials for that topic would show up there. So you could have multiple pages that you could send people to. So that's one of the features we're working on. I mean, great suggestion. So ETA, let me look at our roadmap. I believe the tagging was for June. I think that was in June. I need to double check, but it's going to be a little bit out. Is it possible to transfer existing reviews in another plugin into the website widget? Kirsten, do you mean reviews captured in another system? Or I need a little clarification on that, but I'd be glad to. Yes. It's not possible right now. One thing that we're adding to the widget is the ability to also display your like Google reviews and your Yelp reviews in along with your, you know, reviews from other services along with your testimonials. We're working on that. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to or if you were using some other type of a system. Why don't you connect with us at support and we can figure out a little more about your situation and we should be able to help you out. Paul says he's looking forward to that tag review feature. Yeah, I know, Paul. Mike is too. He's pretty much every other day asking me about that one. So I've got to get that one. We've really got to work on that. So we have lots of cool features planned, and that's one of the ones everyone is waiting for with bated breath. So, um, and then Ed saying other review sources would be great. Yeah, good, Ed. So we've heard that from a lot of people that are saying, hey, what if we could show, I should have had my mock-up. I mean, we're actively developing that now, and I have a mock-up from Aaron where how we're planning that to look like. And it's actually pretty cool. So I think you're going to like it. Um, so these are great suggestions, guys. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And rest assured, we've got our heads down and working as hard and fast as we can on getting these cool features out to you. So, well, hey, we're over the time now. I wanted to just wrap up. There was one other thing I wanted to touch on, and that was integrations. We've done an integration. We've set up an integration with QuickBooks. I'm sorry, with Zapier. And if you're not familiar with Zapier, it's a really cool service that allows you to connect in with basically if you program your app in a certain way and can connect with Zapier, then it allows you to connect with all these other apps. There's over 500 apps in there, including, we had a lot of requests for, hey, could you work with QuickBooks Online so that whenever I create an invoice, it automatically sends a feedback request. Or same thing with FreshBooks, right? Or some of these other services. And so that's what we did. We did the integration with Zapier, and now we integrate with all these apps. And probably in the next webinar, I'm going to dig into this in some detail and show you how it works. But it is available. So if you are interested in integrating with any of these services, anything that's on Zapier, basically, let us know. And we will help you get it set up. It's very easy. You don't have to do any programming. It's like a super easy integration because of Zapier. And so anyway, we're super excited about this because we've had customers ask us for lots of different integrations. And like I had mentioned earlier, everything just works more smoothly if it's part of the workflow in your business, right? And so you create the invoice, automatically the feedback request goes out. You don't have to think about it. So super exciting for us. All right, I'm going to wrap it up because we're a little over time and we've been answering questions along the way. If we missed anything or, something that you didn't get an answer to, please follow up with us. All of us watch this support alias, right? So we'll answer your questions if we missed it here in the webinar. And we're going to have another one next month. So feel free to send us your suggestions of things you want us to cover. We've got a huge list of things we want to cover, but I want it to be what you guys want. So if there's anything in particular you want us to drive into, not only about GetFiveStars, but around customer feedback and reviews, best practices, and things like that, let us know. All right. And thanks so much for being on the webinar today. Appreciate it. And we look forward to seeing you guys next time. Take care.